Guys, I am going to be putting together some videos with some bench basics for you. A while ago, I had something posted on my Instagram story asking if there was anything that I could put together as far as video content that would be helpful to you. And most of the questions, the overwhelming majority of the questions that I received were about bench. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is foot placement and leg drive in the bench. When you are deciding the best, most optimal position for your feet in your bench press, you want to really think through a few things. When you are actually benching, you should have three major points of contact that are going to be actually producing the force and creating that line of force. So that would be your traps and your feet. So you're kind of thinking of yourself as a tripod. You don't want to have relaxed hips on the bench. You want to have your glutes, your hips, your legs, everything completely engaged and firing to get that leg drive and really optimize your force production in the bench. So what I'm going to show you first, it's going to look really weird. If you're a commercial gym lifter, I'm really sorry. People are going to give you weird looks while you're doing this in the gym, but I promise you it's super beneficial. It's going to be really helpful for you. My clients know I've sent them a video of me doing this before to show them to try it out. It's really strange, but I promise you it will help you figure out the best, most optimal position for you. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to put yourself in a position where you're halfway off the bench. Set up on the end of the bench with your butt, your legs, everything hanging off. You can use the rack to actually help you get in position as if you're going to bench just like you would with the bar. So you're going to get yourself up on your traps. You can still kind of drop your hips a little bit as though you're making contact with the bench, but you're not actually making contact with the bench. So here you can see my feet are a little bit wider, but you can see that my legs are really engaged. My low back is actually cramping right now because everything is just firing all the way through. So even if I'm halfway off the bench, I can feel my lats engaged, I'm up on my traps, and I could bench right here with the bar, just like if I was actually laying all the way on the pad. So by doing this, you're going to really force yourself into a position where you can find exactly where you're going to get the most leg drive and power through your feet. So for people who compete in USAPL and IPF, you have to have your feet flat. Most of the other federations allow you to do kind of like a heel up position. You can go up on your toes. Now, when I say up on your toes, I don't mean that you should be, just tippy toe trying to push through. As you can see, you're really not going to get a whole lot from that position. You want to have the ball of your foot actually all the way on the ground so that when you are starting to engage that leg drive, you have the bar on your chest, you're actually going to, as my friend Coach Roxy says, it's like a gas pedal. You're going to try to push that heel towards the ground so that you're really firing all of that musculature to the best of your ability, creating the most power through that whole leg. So you're not going to get any of that if you're up on your toe like this. So you really, if you're going to do a toes position, up on your toes, heel up position, you want to have as much of the surface of the ball of your foot pushing that floor away, driving the force right through the ground. So for people who are flat foot, same thing. You're going to really find a position that you can push and create that force through the ground, pushing the floor away from you so that you are able to create that leg drive. So by doing this and hanging off the end of the bench, you can find what works best for you. I personally bench with a heels up position because I have a high arch and I just prefer it. I feel stronger in that position. So I'm going to be here. But when I competed USAPL, I brought my feet out a little bit wider here. Now, if you are a flat foot bencher and you're finding that when you try to fire that leg drive that your hips are popping up off the bench, most of you know that if you've competed before, if your hips come up, your butt loses contact and you can see daylight underneath, it's going to be a red light. So we want to be able to get in a position where that doesn't happen. And part of it is just, thinking through cognitively, remembering to engage your glutes, but don't shift that line of force going this way vertically. You want to be thinking of pushing yourself back. But you can also change your foot position to be more optimal so that this doesn't happen. So if you're, one of the flat foot benchers and you're benching with your feet kind of out here, think about turning your toes out. If you are having trouble with your hips shooting up, you might want to bring your feet out wider. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean bring them back further, because you might not have the hip flexibility to be able to maintain that position, and especially under heavy loads. But you can bring them out wider, creating more tension and more force through your legs. So this is just a really great tool. Hang off the end of the bench, mess around with it, play with it. You could have a bar in your hands and kind of just get a feel for it and find that position that works the best for you, that you can create the most force, that you're going to be able to bench the most weight. So that's the first thing that I have for you. I hope that this is a helpful tip. I hope that you're able to find the best position possible for you.